welcome. Thank you very much, Dr. Norwood and Dr. Burke, for bringing us together. And I'm very grateful to be joined by critical members of our team. And if we were complete, it would just be many members of our community, local, regional, statewide, national, and around the globe. And at the heart are children. And for now, we are so grateful to be gathered by those who have brought the wisdom and commitment and love to help us start our work together. We are going to first do an introduction where we meet each of our members. And as we discussed this morning, how critical it is that it starts with in building relationship, deep trusting relationship with others, and will be led by Ms. Emma Paulino, and then Mr. Abe Doctolero will speak about the systems changes in the school to bring about the deep relational strength, and then we will go to curriculum and instruction with Dr. Davidson. And at the beginning, we will hear from all of us, also the key and frontline critical partners are community leaders, and those would also be Ms. Betty Lai, who will offer a brief introduction of herself, but comes to us as family advocate of Oakland Head Start, and Miss Nahn Lee came to us as a community leader with the San Antonio Neighborhood Network, and then became, to our great gratitude, a handwork and teacher aide and community advocate. So as we always do, we live what we teach, and as we do with our children, we start with our verse. We're going to do it now in 3 languages. Please rise if you are able. And we will do it in English, and then in Vietnamese, and then in Cantonese. And then our circle will be open. And I will start in English. And there's always movements. Head, heart, and hand is important that we move. It's important that we cross the midline. That is, we know now from brain research how important that is for building the synapses between right and left brain, meaning that we are engaging our hold, our synthetic, and our analytic. It is also giving us joy. This is our school, and please follow my gestures if you are able. Let peace dwell here. Let the room be filled with contentment. Let love abide here. Love of one another, love of humankind, love of the earth, and love of life itself. Let us remember, as many hands build a house, so many hearts make a school. I go now to the Vietnamese.
Do you want to call in English response or just read the Vietnamese?
Yes.
Just the Vietnamese. Đây là trường học của chúng ta. Hãy sống hòa bình ở đây. Hãy để căn phòng tràn đầy mãn nguyện. Hãy để tình yêu tồn tại ở đây. Tình yêu của nhau, tình yêu của nhân loại, tình yêu của trái đất và tình yêu của đời mình. Chúng ta hãy nhớ, như nhiều bàn tay xây dựng một ngôi nhà thì nhiều trái tim tạo thành trường học.
And before we do Miss Betty, Miss Emma, would you be able to read the Spanish, please?
Esta es nuestra escuela. Que la paz habite aquí. Que el salón de clases se llene de satisfacción. Dejemos que el amor permanezca aquí. Amor de unos a otros. El amor a la humanidad. Amor a la tierra. Amor a la vida. Recordemos cómo tantas manos construyen una casa. Asimismo, muchos corazones hacen una escuela.
In Cantonese?
Yes, please.
這是我們的學校，與和平住這裏，與房間留滿滿足感，愛留住這裏，彼此相愛和知愛，大地之愛和對生活本身的熱愛，與我們住。由於有很多人防止所以很多人心中有一所學校。
It is with this kind of a symphony of languages where our children hear their own and their neighbor's language that we open this circle at our school and we open our gathering today. We said this will be burning questions from participants and then sharing critical tools. Are there burning questions to begin with? Then please share them now. Otherwise, we go into our first tool, which is with Emma Paulino, and we first hear from each of the presenters what brings them to the work.
No questions yet.
Thank you. Then I would like to go in turn and ask first Miss Emma Paulino, just a brief, what brings you to the work. Then we will go in the order of speakers to Mr. Abe Doctolero, then Dr. Connie Davidson, then Miss Betty Lai, and then Miss Nahn Lee.
So my name is Emma Paulino. I'm the director of organizing and leadership formation at Faith and Action East Bay, which is a member of PICO, People Organizing, People Improving Communities Through Organizing, I'm sorry. So what brings me to do this work is that I really believe that I have gifts that I'm a person of faith. I believe that I have gifts that God has given to me, has installed on me, and those gifts need to be shared with others. In terms of, building the good will for the people in our community. That's the reason why I'm here today. And that's the reason why I'm doing this work. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Abe Doctolero.
Hello, everybody. I am Abe Doctolero. I'm the former Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services at Pittsburgh Unified School District. After a 45-year career in public education, I found myself coming to this work some years ago with EDA after we had done some Southern California work on resilience and underserved populations. At the time, I was very, very keen and continue to be keen on bringing the community school model into a public setting. When Ida approached me with her very ambitious plan to start the community school for creative education, it was an irresistible pull to actually bring everything that I believed in terms of having the school provide a full wraparound service to a community to fruition. And so somehow, some way, she talked me into becoming the first board president. And together we laid the groundwork for what has become a very successful and unique community school in a neighborhood in Oakland, which reflects the great diversity and the need for this kind of innovative education. And I've enjoyed the work. I continue consulting with Ida now and again. I've got her convinced I actually know something, which is something of a trick. But in any event, I'm very, very thankful to have been associated with her and this school, and I'm glad to be here to share whatever I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abe Doctolero. Dr. Davidson.
I too, like Miss Emma, I feel that what I do as an educator is because this is what God put me on this earth to do. I have a purpose, and this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I come from a corporate background, and at 40, I decided to become a teacher. So my entire passion is that every single child has an opportunity to have opportunities. They deserve a quality education where they can say yay or nay to whatever those opportunities are that they face in their lives. I am also a partial product of the Oakland Public School System and a full product of the private school system. And I can honestly say that neither of them served me well. I can say that when I had caring teachers, which were few and far between in those spaces, they made all the difference in the world. So my entire second part of my life journey has been to change the way teachers teach, one teacher at a time, because I cannot stop the behemoth of the traditional system, but I can be a disruptor. And so when I talked to Edith on that Sunday morning, I just knew it was Easter. So, hey, God's still talking to me. So we have had this relationship ever since. Her work is exciting. It was something new for me. It was where I wanted to go. And having the conversations and learning about Waldorf in general. I didn't know anything about Waldorf. The Waldorf Astoria is a hotel in New York City, and that's all I knew. But I learned about Waldorf. I took classes from Waldorf. I visited the schools. And as a artistic learner that never had the opportunity to be taught using the means of art to communicate and to express yourself, that was one of the things I really enjoyed about the Waldorf model for the organic way that it nurtures the entire child. And its vision of including the child, the school, the community, the parents, all as part of what it takes to not only change the child, but change the world around the child, is something that I am totally in favor of, and am spending this latter part of my career making sure that as many times and opportunities that I have to push that agenda forward, I do it. And so I'm here today because I want those of you who are thinking about doing this journey and making this type of Waldorf-inspired school where you are, there are things you just need to know so that you can at least avoid some of the pitfalls, but can also identify the successes and failures and learn from the failures and celebrate the successes. So I'm kind of a nuts and boltsy kind of person. And so that's my conversation with you today. And I love you, Ida.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Davidson. Miss Lee?
So, hello everyone. So, the reason I'm invest in to have the school open or the community. This is my priority from my life, for the rest of my life. So, I am the refugee. So I got a lot of help from the community when I just came to the U.S. So the community helps my family, especially my two kids. They are so successful in their life. So this is time, I think this is time for me to come out to help back to the community. And helping the community is my favorite. This is my priority for the rest of my life.
Thank you, Miss Lee. Miss Lai.
Yes. Hello again, everyone. Again, my name is Betty Lai, and I am a mother of two kids, 16 and 22 years old. I currently live in San Leandro, California, and my profession, again, is a family advocate with the City of Oakland Head Start since 2003. I have 17 years of experience in community relations, family social services, project management, and leading organizations. I hold a BA degree in early childhood education, but also completed the Waldorf training on emergency pedagogy in July of 2018. In addition to my experience, my background and identity as a refugee immigrant, a mother, first-generation college student, has also informed my work and passion to help others. I was a former CSCE parent and served as a board member since 2005 for 6 years. Since then, I was very involved in building parent engagement at the school level and was the chair of Parent in Action for 2 years, where we would meet monthly to plan for activities and fundraising efforts throughout the year. My biggest achievements were starting CSCE's first summer school that was launched in June of 2014. That year, we successfully enrolled 150 students from TK through 5th grades with a mixture of community school students and families from all over with an affordable fee to sustain the 5 weeks program. Today, we're proud to say that we were able to work with other agencies to run summer school and aftercare programs at no cost for families. I was also the founder of CSCE's Food Pantry in 2015 in collaboration with the Alameda County Food Bank to provide nutritious foods for over 300 of our students and families, as well as the Oakland community. Our work expanded and was acknowledged where we were awarded a capacity grant last year, close to $4,000 worth of equipment to run the food pantry during the time of COVID. My involvement also included the work to provide emergency intervention in December of 2018 to the families that were impacted by trauma in Chico, California, shortly after the Paradise Fire. Even though I ended my term as a board member last month, I continue to be involved with CSCE as a board advisor. However, my daughter Grace will be one of CSCE's board members to fulfill the role where she once ran a youth program at the school, leading a group of middle school students called Youth in Action. With her background in mass communication and public policy, I have good faith that she can deeply support CSCE's visions and goals. Thank you.
Many, many thanks to all. I feel like this would already be worthy, this kind of a circle of strength around our children. And with now, however, we're going to do some how to build up what we get a glimmer of here and where you get a sense of what we are building, continuing to build together. So honored by the voices at this table. And our first focus is now for Miss Emma Paulino.
So we are a faith-based organization that works around issues that affects the community. We are a multi-faith, multi-race, multi-ethnic. The center of our work is leadership development. And the main tool for us is relationship building. Everything we have been doing for 50 years in Oakland and now across the nation and doing international work in Rwanda, Central America, and Haiti is using the same tool that I'm going to present and share with you today. And everything again is based in relationships building. The organizers in our organizing model is not the organizers we are not the one who decide what people should organize around. We run what we call listening campaign, which means we sit in a one-to-one conversation, in a face-to-face conversation, where right now we are doing Zoom. But in the normal time, if I can say, we sit with people. And I'm just gonna share really quick around the structure of these conversations. So the person who asks or invite the other person to have a one-to-one with is the person who's gonna be there listening to people. And listening means really like putting your whole body, your whole mind into that conversation. So you will be able to do a few things. One is to start to build the relationships by sharing our stories. And I'm gonna go back to that part. Number two of that is, but the first one is really intentional conversation. It's not a casual conversation that I met somebody in the hall and we are chatting around wherever. This is a very intentional conversation, and always have an why. Why I'm gonna be meeting with Dr. Ida. And I do have the intention. That means I'm setting up the time with her And that means I'm gonna be able to sit with her for at least 30 minutes. And I'm gonna be going out there open to learn, so I can start building a relationship with her or with him. In any case, I'm gonna be open to identify what are the concerns that the other person has. What are the priorities out of those concerns that she or he may bring to the conversation? And something that is very important for us is why? Why is this important? Why is this issue or this problem important for him or for her? And the why is coming from how does that affect your life or your community? These are really simple points, but are really critical. Because when you go there, you are prepared for that conversation, and you are open to learn and open to identify what may gonna move Dr. Ida, if that will be the case, to act, to do something. Because I'm the organizer, I'm not gonna come to this conversation with the ideas about you should do this and that, or I'm gonna do this or that for you. This is about identifying the other person's self-interest and inviting her or him to move. Okay, so before I'm going there, but I just want to enter from that place because I want to explain the whole PICO organizing model. But this is the main tool or the main element of the whole 4 areas of the PICO organizing model are based on relationships. So anything that we move using this organizing model is the foundations, is the relationships that we build with people. So this is our organizing model. Again, it's very simple. So we start with the one-to-ones conversation where we share our stories, build relationships, and identify people's self-interest. And in fact, we do have a principles, what we call our principles, right? So one of the principles for the one-to-one conversation is self-interest moves people. And the other one is power is the result of relationships. The second part of this organizing model is doing research meetings. So why we do research meetings? Because when we have problems, when we are living in situations in our neighborhood, in our cities, we tend to believe that these are the responsible for that. These are the responsible for this. So these are the So there are so many people who are naming or pointing finger in different, whether it's the government, whether it's the police, whether it's the healthcare people, so there are so many players in people's minds when they identify issues affecting their lives. If it's education, is the school, the superintendent, the school principal, the teacher, you name it, right? It depends on the issues where people start to play ideas around who is responsible for this, for the poor quality of education, who is responsible, right? We do research meetings to understand who is responsible and how can we change that. How can we work together with the other partners or with those responsibles to improve the quality of education, around access to housing, healthcare, immigration policies, or you name it. So we do research meetings, and during this process of research meetings, we do a few things that are really important. We understand how power plays and how decisions are made. We build power with people, we build relationships with people and power. And we come more together with more clear understanding around really identifying who are those responsible. And we have another principle for that is going down and coming back smart. So when we go, it's not that we are dumb, but it's simple that sometimes we don't know what we don't know. So we always go to these research meetings with open minds. Maybe sometimes, in my career as an organizer, almost of 30 years, I find out sometimes we met, for example, with somebody who represents the senator. Sometimes the people who is coming to this meeting has more information that the rep for that senator. Why? Because when people are on the ground, sometimes are much more equipped with a lot of information. So we kind of educate people around how those issues affect us and what could be done, right? So it's like we both learn, and again, we build relationships. That's really important part. And in doing that, we start to, put more, our muscles are becoming more stronger because we have more than in the beginning. The third part of it is running what we call a public action, a public meeting. So during this process, the one-to-ones process are a continual process. It's not that we do one round. During the whole process, we go back. So people who meet to do the research meetings go back to the large community and share with them. This is what we find out, right? So there is a group of people who represent the rest of the community and come back. So on the day of the action, I'm gonna give you an example that is recently, the last meetings that we had. One of them was around education. We brought 2,200 people to that large action. We had another meeting, many meetings around illegal dumping, the trash in our streets in Oakland. We brought 700 people at one of the meetings, 600 to the other one, 400. So we have been, during the last 5 years working around illegal dumping. We have brought like almost 4,000 people to different meetings. What that means for us, we have power to change systems and to create new systems. And this is using this simple organizing model. And our, our PICO principle for this part is power is taking, not giving. Right? And the other principle is control the agenda, control the outcome. So when we have these meetings, it's not the organizer, it's not the ED of the organization who runs these meetings. It's the community, the people on the ground who are suffering, who are struggling, who are demanding the changes. So our work, my job, is to empower them, to help them to discover their power, and to give them tools to exercise the power to make the changes. And the last part of these 4 areas is, people are not responsible for what they don't know, right? You don't know, you are not responsible. You cannot, we cannot hold people responsible for what they don't know. And another important principle around power is the ability to act. To me, this is one of the most really fulfill my imagination when I think about the ability to act. If we feel disempowered, we do not have the ability to act. Our community build the power and they have the ability to act and to say enough is enough, as we said in some of the meetings. And we evaluate. After each one of these sessions, we always evaluate what worked, what didn't work. So I just want to give you an overview around the PICO organizing model. I want to open up for a few questions before I go back to the one-to-one.
Emma, thank you so much. And I know for the sake of time to be able to hear everybody, this is so rich. So Kathy Norwood here, Dr. Norwood. This model is so powerful. And to see how you start at the one-on-one level and the ability then to eventually impact over 4,000 people and empower them and advocate and build up that inner voice is just incredible. I'm in the process of starting an international professional coaching school, and I really plan to access this and integrate this in based on the work that you're doing. So I want to thank you for that. My question is, what is the process you teach people to do to be ready for that one-on-one conversation where they can truly lay their agenda aside and listen at that deep level?
This is a great question, and this is where the real work starts, right? We invest. Let us say that today, before coming to this meeting, we just finished with Dr. Ida another meeting, right? We're gonna meet with the director of the Oakland Public Workers. We need to prepare an agenda. Dr. Ida and the team that is coming to this group, they already have the skills, the ability, they understand power and everything. And yet we still have to come and prepare the agenda, come out with the questions. We do not overwhelm people with so many questions. 3 or 4 questions, but they're key questions, right? In every single meeting. But the real work happened between after the one-to-one and the next step in this process, right? For example, in order for we call leaders, our members are leaders who lead the work, who do the work. And we're gonna do role play, Dr. Ida and myself in a few minutes. So you will see, but what happened is after the first conversation, if the person sees that there is interest in the other person in doing something, we invite them to participate. We invite them to whatever is gonna happening in the work that we are doing. Hey, join us, we're gonna have this meeting. You know, we don't try to recruit people, to force people, nothing. Because what is key in this process is self-interest moves people. So if I invite you to come to the meeting, you're gonna be there because you care about the issue. Yes, I was a tool to invite you, but the decision is yours because that affects you and your loved ones, right? Or the people you care about. So what I do, and I love, this is the beauty of my work. I love sitting with people and training them in a one-to-one basis. And we do trainings also in our groups. We do trainings locally, state, and national trainings for people who want to build up those skills, because these are very powerful skills, but you have to know how to use them. We don't go to one meeting with anybody without being prepared. And we do not invite a politician to a meeting where he or she don't know what she's gonna expect in the meeting. So what happened is we prepare the leaders, right, to understand, to discover their power first. That's the first part. They need to understand you have power. Some people need to hear that over and over and over and over. Because especially people of color, we feel disempowered. We are undermined, not one, every single time. Sometimes even in our own experience, in our life growing. By the society, sometimes even our own family, right? And by the politicians and by people, you know. So there is so many layers in how we internalize the sense that we do not have power. So I intentionally sit with people. I intentionally help people to discover you have power. You can do it. But it doesn't happen just because I say so. So what we do is, for example, if we have this research meeting coming, we invite one of our members that we call leaders just to share your name and who you are. And we train them in a one-to-one. And let us say that, you know, and this using the illegal dumping. I remember one mom who didn't want even to say her name in front of people. not ever will dream about asking questions or having the meeting directly with the mayor. So during the learning process with this work around organizing, she started by, sharing a little bit about how illegal dumping affected her life. And, by the next meeting, she was more ready to ask some questions that were kind of challenging questions. By the day of the meeting with the mayor, the council members, and the district attorney, she was the one who ran the whole show. A Latino mom who hardly speaks English, but here she was, exercising the power with the mayor and really challenging the mayor in a beautiful and respectful way. I'm using just her as an example, but that was the whole group did the same thing. So we, lift up people by giving the opportunity a little by a little to see themselves and the ladder going up. And I can tell you one thing, when people got to what they say, one lady say, I found the green light, there is no red light for me anymore. So when people exercise power and live the experience, there is no way to go back. They can challenge anyone, whether, again, in our organizing work, we met, for example, with the new Senator Alex Padilla. The leaders, what we call ordinary people, were the one who ran the whole meeting with 400 people on the Zoom meeting. We met with the Senator, who is the Vice President, Kamala Harris, right? Same thing. Ordinary people, brown people, black people, people of, Caucasian people. So we form teams that we train. In a one-to-one session, we role play, we check their time. We have so much discipline in this work. It's 1 hour meeting max. We have so much discipline. We believe that discipline in meetings is power. So we time people in each one of the roles, and the outcome of it, as people live, even if they don't get what they want, what they need, they live ready to come back to push until they get what they want. I talk too much, I know. So please ask more questions and let me know if this makes sense.
Maybe, Emma, we should do the role play and people put questions in the chat, and then we'll see if there's one more so that we are stay on time. Okay, so Dr. Ida and I will do a role play of a one-to-one. I want you to pay attention to see if you capture something that maybe is cute, that helps you, that, something that you capture after my explanation. How much time we have? Because we need to make sure that is 10 minutes okay, or is too much? I think, Dr. Norwood, are we, even despite the tech questions, we are still kept to 2:30, I'm sorry, till 2:35?
Yes, yeah, we'll bring complete closure by 2:35.
2:35. I think we have to keep it to 6 minutes. Okay, so I set up the appointment with Dr. Ida. I don't know anything about Dr. Ida other than she's the school principal, I'm the director of the school, community school. This is my first meeting. And let me tell you this, I'm gonna share a little bit about myself because this is how we credential ourselves. It's important, okay? So again, we are here. I'm gonna spend 30 minutes and 6 minutes, right? So, hi, Dr. Ida. How are you, Emma? I'm fine. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for accepting my invitation. I hear about some things about your school, and I just wanna. Will you allow me to just introduce myself a little bit and to tell you who am I? Oh, please. Thank you. So I'm Emma Paulino. I'm an organizer with FENAC in Action East Bay. I'm an immigrant. I was born and raised in Mexico. I came to this country when I was around 26 years, and I got married here with my husband, my Filipino husband,
we have 3 kids, and all of them went to the Oakland public schools. So, I got involved because I was really concerned about my child, my second child education. And, I hope to have more time to talk about this later on, but I just want to hear a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, I'm not from this country. I'm Dutch, and I grew up then in Germany, and so English is my third language. It was very scary to learn German and not be at my home when I was 9 years old and up. But I was very afraid of the Germans because they'd occupied my country and murdered my great grandmother and my grandmother, and so I'd always thought I never wanted to be with them. And there they were, my schoolmates and the parents of my schoolmates and my teachers. So very scary. And then I got enrolled in a Waldorf school, and it felt so. Eventually, I started to really trust because I was able to learn through art and beauty and relationship with a teacher who stayed with me for 8 years. And I felt very grateful. And out of that was that I wanted to have a school. I wanted to have an option that all families who feel in any way marginalized could create such a school if they chose, free of financial costs, to serve them and their community. So I'm so grateful to meet you.
Thank you so much, and I really hope to continue learning about, and sharing our stories. I believe that this is really powerful. I never would imagine that you was an immigrant, and imagine that you went through that traumatic experience back in your country. So thank you for sharing that, and I'm really looking forward to continue building up into this. I'm here today because I was told by one of the parents at your school that there is some concerns that you have around, things happening at the, I don't know whether it's in the school or in the school area. So I just want to check in with you. I mean, how do you feel about this neighborhood around the school itself, the building, the whole thing?
Thank you. I'm so glad because I just came to school for our meeting now, and the school, we worked so hard to have it beautiful. I just came, and the whole garage, which we beautifully painted, was graffitied, and there was clothes littered on the front steps of the school, and the whole trash can was turned over, and there was a big garbage of dump and a big sofa dropped in the street. And it really hurts me because our children are coming back next week, and it's been such a hard year. It's so important that we receive the children and the families well, especially the ones who've been under such stress, that they would know this is a nurturing, beautiful place, not just safe but beautiful. So I'm just in absolute distress that there's this kind of ravagement here. And I know I go up on the hills, and it is quite lovely.
Mm-hmm. But I'm so sorry to hear that. That must affect the learning conditions and the teaching conditions for the teachers, right? It's the students, it's the parents and the teachers. So again, I'm sorry to hear that. Did you hear about these concerns from other people also in your school community, or it's just you? Or
We just did a survey at the end of the year. What is most on your mind as we come back? And the two really strong, they obviously want their children to get strong education, but the two big ones were illegal dumping and human trafficking, so that the children can feel safe and honored going to school.
Wow. So would you like to do something about it, or you think you just will like kind of leave it there and continue just,
I'd
living?
really like to. I don't know what to do. I know it's not just me, our whole community feels very committed to the school and feels committed to the community. Our neighbors suffer also, but I just don't know what the lever is.
Mm-hmm. Well, we can again schedule another time to continue talking. And also, I want to say, if it's okay with you, will you, have this conversation with other people and see they would like to do something? Because there is a group of people who are gathering together around this issue with the illegal dumping. And, the next meeting will be August 12th. So if you think there's people interested in this and you yourself would like to, we can again, I can sit with other people, have a one-to-one conversations. We are running right now what we call a listening campaign. to understand better what affects people's life, and also, of course, to invite them to organize and to do something. So if it's okay with you, can we schedule something for next week?
Oh, for us with some other parents who are interested?
Yes, if you can identify some other people, I definitely can come. You have conversations, whether it's one-to-one or a small group of people, and you have this type of conversations, and they want to do something, I can give you more information.
Thank you so much. I know that next week they come back, so that would be, and it's going to be so burning on their mind. I would be happy to find out.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we're gonna stop right there. Questions, reactions. That was really, really short. There was no opportunity for me to ask the why, right? Why is this affecting? But it was really real that it affects her emotionally. And so any questions, any reactions? What you think? Did you learn something? Did you see this as something helpful for you?
This is for the audience, a question.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, Dr. Ida. Yeah, this question is for all of you who were observing, listening.
And so the attendees, feel free to throw something in the chat or the Q&A, or we could even bring you on if you would like to come on and ask a question.
Well, if not, we really hope that this is a tool that maybe at some point you feel helpful for you, and some of the spaces where you are, doing your work. So I really appreciate that you allow me to come and to share with you. These are the tools that we have been using for 50 years, as I said, and I'm really proud of it because right now we are organizing in Haiti and Rwanda, and we have been invited to Tanzania and Kenya and other countries in Africa, and also in Central America. We are organizing there, and here we are in Oakland, also in the Bay Area.
Thank you, Emma. And there'll also be Q&A time at the end, and we are so grateful. And thank you, Emma. Stay with us, but now the spotlight goes to, so we did the organizing, we were able to start our school, but then how do we run the school? And Mr. Abe Doctolero will take it from there. And we refer you to the treasure chest for the 4 tools that Abe Doctolero will be discussing.